Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of the Days of Our Lives, March 24th, 2025. So we start off with Tate and Holly, right? So Tate and Holly are, spending some time together finally because, of course, they've been MIA with each other, they've been with other people, and they finally get some time to settle down. So they're there, having a little intimate time, watching the movie, and, Holly gets a text from Doug. It's rather urgent. So she calls him, much to Tate's dismay, because Tate is saying ignore it. So she said it could be serious. So Doug is informing Holly that, him and Julie went to a restaurant and Julie saw Melinda with a necklace on, and of course it ended up in something more dramatic, and now, Julie's down to the police station and Melinda is possibly coming in there to, be held for questioning, and she may be Holly may be implicated as well as him. So, he's sorry that she's dragged into the mess. And she said, don't be sorry about it. He's asking her if she can meet him at the park. So she said, okay, yeah. So, all while this is going on, Tate's face is just hilarious because Tate is like, really, like, why this happened? So, she's they're like, oh gosh, she doesn't have anything important going on. So he's like, really? So anyway, she says that she's gonna meet him, much to Tate's dismay again. And Tate is saying, you don't have to go down there to meet him. Like, why are you really doing this? Like, is it really worth it to help this guy? Like, he got himself in this trouble. Like, why are you in it? So she said, like, I owe it to him to really be there for him, help him out of his situation. Like, I really need to know what's going on. So Tate is begging and pleading her not to go, and he says not that he's jealous, because he's just jealous, and it's messing up their night. It's still he still doesn't want her to go down there, right? So anyway, she still goes. So anyways, going on to JJ and Julie, right? So Julie filed a report with the police station about the necklace, and JJ said that is not really enough to really bring in Melinda for questioning. Like, we need concrete evidence. So she's saying, a lot of people were there to witness the necklace, and he's saying maybe that could help a little. So she messaged a few relatives, and she got a text from Jennifer saying that it could possibly be the necklace. So she's asking JJ to call in Melinda for questioning. At this point, he does call in Melinda to come in for questioning. So back at the bistro, there's Leo, Doug, and Melinda. So before Melinda was brought into the police station for questioning, Doug was having a one-on-one with her, and that's when Leo comes in. So Leo's also trying to have Doug's back on that, and said that, Doug's a good guy. He just got himself into some mess and he's trying to get himself out. And, why is it a problem for him to just buy it back from you? So she said maybe she doesn't want to do that. Maybe she wants to hold on to the necklace. And, she doesn't feel why she has to give it back. Like, it's not her fault at the end of the day. And Leo is trying to threaten her to say that he could write an article on it to say that the former DA has stolen goods. So she said maybe you need to rethink that, because you could be implicated. You were the one who was involved in the transaction, right? So he had to be quiet about that, because she was putting on her DA hat, right? They forget that she used to be a DA, and she still has that background, so she knows how to get herself out of sticky situations. So anyway, she said that she is not giving it back for sale or anything like that. And if it turns out that the police bring her down for questioning, and she has to be brought down for this, she's bringing Doug down with her. It is what it is with that, right? So Leo tried, and Leo was saying that just think about it a little bit more. You don't have to owe me a favor, but think about Doug, like, he's a good guy and all of that. So she said go ahead and do your takeout or whatever, because he was there for his takeout. So he went ahead and do that, and Doug was pleading with her one more time, and she said nah. She got a call from the police at that time. She said, I'm being brought down for questioning, so just know if it goes left, you will be brought down with me. So Chad is over at Kat's place to talk about the fundraiser and some issues with it. But before he went to her door, he heard a big scream and he thought she was in trouble. But apparently she was screaming at the TV, some big games going on, and she, was, frightened by him just barging in. And he said he thought she was in trouble. So she said, no, it was just the game, right? It's a family tradition and all that. So I apologize for that. So she said, what brings you here? So he said that there's an entertainment issue with the fundraiser. So now they don't have any backative for, entertainment for the day. So she said she will reach out to her cousin who knows some musician. So she did get back with them and, it was a success. So they're happy about that. They're back on. So anyways, before he leaves, she was saying, I can give you some hot dogs because it's a tradition over here. We eat a lot of hot dogs. So he's like, okay, cool. So they start talking, I guess there was another goal scored and she starts screaming and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm being so loud. And Felicity has her, finals or whatever it is going on. And they talk about Felicity and, Chad bring up how Felicity, cares about her and just says that, she has feelings for him and all that. So she said, maybe it's just her putting that together. Like, I know you would never return the feelings based on everything that happened. And, they talk about her and her surgery and how she's reliving life and, how Clyde affected them both. And, he doesn't hold it against her because, they move past that. So Cat is a bundle of nerves, like up and down bundle of nerves. She doesn't know how to act around Chad, how to relax around Chad. And she goes for the hot dogs and she's still coming jittery and she ends up, squishing the hot dogs in his shirt and the mustard is on his shirt and she's trying to wipe it out and it's not coming out. So he's like, you know what, I'll see you tomorrow. So she's saying she's sorry. He's like, it's okay, you're okay. So he leaves and, she's like, what is wrong with me? And I'm saying, why it's cute sometimes, but, Cat really needs to relax and chill a little bit. So anyways, Gabby comes home because Gabby gets a text from JJ saying that, the thing with the dinner with Julie was a bust. So he was wondering if they could have a candlelight dinner instead together. So she comes home and she's surprised by the candlelight dinner. She thought it was from JJ. So Javi's there and Javi's like, do you know anything about this? So he's like, no, that's really nice of him to set it up for you. So anyways, he said, him and Leo will be out of her hair to give them privacy and she appreciates that. And he said, I really hope that we can get along. And, she apologized for how she reacted about the whole Leo news. She said that she would do a lot better in terms of accepting that he'll be there. And she just wants him to be happy and respect that, right? So he also apologized for everything. And, they just moved past it, right? So he was about to text Leo about, not coming over because, they have a date, right? So Leah comes up with takeout and Javi saying, we have to go somewhere to eat because, Gabby and JJ have this private date. So he said, no, I'm the one that set up the candlelight dinner. And Javi's like, oh, that's so romantic. And, Gabby saying, so what about me? Like, where's my gesture? So he said, like, really, he was being all sarcastic with her, like, really, like, I forgot to reward you with a nice gift for all your hospitality. So he's been very sarcastic with her. And, her and Javi are looking at him like, really? So it's like he's sorry for how he came across. Sometimes that's his defense mechanism. But anyways, he tries to recover with, you know, saying how she looked well and all of that. But she's not buying it. So she got a call from JJ saying that, if they wanted to meet up at the bistro. So she said, okay, cool. I would like to get out of the house. So she said, lucky for you too, I'll be out of the house. And, they tell her to enjoy her date. And that was that. So, she leaves and Javi saying, did you have to be like that? With Gabby said telling her thank you. So it's like, yeah, you're right. Sometimes I can be like that, a little defense mechanism and all that. So, he just wanted to make the dinner special for him and Javi and that they weren't it and they have a good night and that was really it with them. So Melinda comes down to the station and she's like, this better be something good, right? So he said that, we got some intel, and, Julie blurts out lies from Jennifer, and she's like, oh my gosh, investigators, mommy, you got information from, I know that this is just a waste of time. Like, at the end of the day, like, I got this necklace from a reputable dealer. It's a legal transaction. And, she said, oh, you mean a thief? So she said, no, it's a legal transaction, right? So I'm just wasting my time here. You don't have any concrete evidence to hold me here, so I should just get going. So Julie's running after, and Julie's like saying to JJ, like, why you let her walk away? So JJ said she used to be a DA here. Like, she is right. I can't hold her here without concrete evidence, and we need to do this by the book. Of course, Julie feels that the book doesn't apply to her, but it is what it is. Like, it's the law, ma'am. So JJ meets up with Gabby, and he apologizes for being late, and they've just been both busy, and they understand. And she said, your date with Julie was a bust. I said, yeah. So she said, what happened? So he filled her in briefly about how she found a necklace on Melinda's neck, and that Melinda is not willing to give back the necklace to Julie, and now it's really a big mess now. So they are looking into seeing how, Julie can, justice can be served in Julie's case, right? So Gabby gets how Melinda can be, because she actually works with her. So she's hoping that everything works out well. So he said, enough about work. Let's talk about something else. So she talks about her business briefly, talked about the weather. And, he said, it doesn't even matter what you talk about. I just really like to hear from you, right? So it was really that with them. So Doug meets up with Holly. Well, earlier before Holly came there, he called Julie to see what happened at the police station, and she tells him that, Melinda came over, and, it didn't go nowhere because she did not really say much. So Doug is just there with a relief on his face, like, okay, she didn't rat on him or Holly. So she said, but don't worry, I'm still not gonna give up, right? So it's like, maybe she didn't do anything. And he's like, oh, really? I don't believe that. So she says she's still not going to give up. So, anyways, Holly comes over, and, he fills in Holly on the fact that Melinda didn't implicate him nor Holly. So they're in the clear for now until Julie really keep pressing to see what can come off that case, right? So, anyways, while that is happening, they're, thinking of a plan how to go, deal with this. And, Doug is also saying that maybe he needs to come clean with Julie, sooner than later. So, I don't think he's gonna get that chance again, because Boy Scout Tate, he ended up taking out his phone, and he's like, sorry, Holly, I have to do this. So he calls Julie, and he's like, Mrs. Williams, I heard about your grandmother's necklace, and I think I might have some information on that, right? So she's all ears, but man, Tate is just gives me another reason why I cannot stand this character. So that is it, guys. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to my channel. Comment below your thoughts on today's episodes. I will see you guys tomorrow.